Hello, thank you for joining me for the online saga, the continuing event of the Lifeline Bookfest that won't fit on my device because I'm technologically challenged. So, pull up a chair, pour yourself a time of day appropriate beverage, and let us begin with Star Web by John Cox. Or is it Joan Cox? I think that might be Joan Cox actually. I thought it was John Cox. A book I've never heard of by an author that I have likewise never heard of. And still, even inside. Oh wait, no, here, Joan Cox. There you go. Other Avon books by Joan Cox are Mind Song. I'm going to say they hadn't written very much at this point. It's got a dragon on it. It's got print block. It's science fiction. I was sold. But the next one is not science fiction. The next one is famous Chinese short stories retold by Lin Yuntang. Some of these, I believe, are the Chinese version of fairy stories, which kind of grabs me straight away. And some of them are more modern short stories, though it's a newly reissued in Everyman book. I believe some of them go quite far back. It's been a long time since I read any Chinese fairy stories, so I'm keen. Back in science fiction, we have Robert Heinlein, Farmer in the Sky. This is a classic Robert Heinlein. It's one of those ones that a lot of people who may not always love Heinlein say is a good one. It is a pan science fiction, and it's got that quite gorgeous cover. I know I have read Farmer in the Sky, but I don't own it, and I think it's been quite a long time since I did, so I'm quite keen to reread that one soonish. The Seeds of Time by John Wyndham. Penguin brought out this series with this monochrome coloured cover for John Wyndham, and The Seeds of Time, again, it's one that I don't know if I've read or not. I have a core belief that I have read all John Wyndham, but maybe I haven't, because I certainly don't have this one, and that means that I probably haven't read it in the last 10 years. And here we have a J.G. Ballard. So, Rushing to Paradise. This could be Ballard when he's being a science fiction-ish type author, and could be Ballard when he isn't, and I'm really not sure what it is. I remember reading it when I was in the Bookfest and thinking, it's a little bit obscure, but either way, I'm cool for it. I do believe it may have something to do with radiation and the Bikini Atoll, the nuclear testing in the French Pacific. But either way, it's Ballard, so I'm happy to have it purely author-based. What else have I got? Oh yes, this one's a bit of a unicorn, and I was quite thrilled to get it. Now, I don't love hardcovers, but this is a small hardcover by Powell Anderson. Let the Spacemen Beware. It's a quite beautiful little thing. It's actually not a large hardcover. It is pretty much the same as some paperbacks would be, and it's got that gorgeous Medusa-like red pink. I don't know. It's a gorgeous jacket design by Richard Weaver, and it's a type of hardcover that I haven't seen before. So I was a little bit excited by that. It calls itself Dobson Science Fiction, and I haven't read that Powell Anderson, and I don't have it, so now I do. Non-science fiction, Monsieur, a novel by Lawrence Durrell. I love Lawrence Durrell's writing when he isn't too up his own backside, which he can be at times. But he does always have lovely writing, and this, while it is a hardcover, and I'm running out of hardcover space, it's got some interesting features. The dust jacket is in good condition. Not great condition, but good. The inside pages have got this, I don't know if you can see it. It's like what you see on recycled paper with extra fibres inside it. So that was intriguing. And I think this one was actually from a pub. Yes, there we go. The Viking Press in New York. it looks quite intriguing, and it's got that, I don't know that the camera's going to pick this up, but it's got that roughened look of pages that have actually been cut. They used to sell books with the pages folded over and you had to cut them, and that stopped people from reading them in the store, perhaps? I don't know. I have read the occasional book in the store. Anyway, it might take me a while to get to that, but I think it will be cool when I do. Here we have a Gordon R. Dixon, The Spirit of Dorsai. That's a Sphere science fiction book. Good cover, not terrible condition. I do like Gordon R. Dixon. I am less certain about how much I love Dorsai, but I'll keep trying because his non-Dorsai books are great. Oh yes. Jack Vance, Galactic Effectuator. Effectuator? Jack? Really? Effectuator? Who says words like that? Jack Vance does. I do like the cover. I do love Jack Vance. I'm reading a Jack Vance at the moment, and I think there's going to be a review, and it might be a bit surprising of a Jack Vance review in a couple of days. Harry Harrison, In Our Hands, the Stars. I actually had a great conversation at Bookfest. I was the first person who reached the low-priced science fiction area, but the second person behind me was someone who is a Harry Harrison fan. We ended up having a bit of a good conversation about it. He prefers the comedic Harry Harrison. I prefer the non-comedic. Wait, only time will tell which one this is, but In Our Hands, the Stars did not strike me as going for comedy, and neither did Planet of No Return, which was the other Harry Harrison I got. I spent more time looking at it there than I have here, but it does have that really cool illustration on the back. So, high hopes for that Harry Harrison. Terry Greenhow. Terry Green something or other. Thought World. Great cover. Good author. I have read some stuff by him. I have got a bit more stuff by him to read. But I would probably always pick up books by this author until I've proven whether I like him or not, one way or another. John Boyd, The Last Starship from Earth, the same. John Boyd has got some pluses and some minuses. This has got a great science fiction cover. I have read a couple by him. Not recently, I don't know, but this is The Last Starship from Earth. I love the Generation Starship books, almost always. Arnold Bennett, Penguin Modern Classics. This is not remotely science fiction. This is, I don't know, literary fiction? Literary themajigs. So, Arnold Bennett, I didn't grow up with him. I hadn't read much of his work until I think earlier this year, or maybe last year, I finally got around to finishing Anna of the Five Towns. And Bennett wrote a series of books set in one particular part of England. And I don't know the United Kingdom enough to truly understand that area, but it seems as if you had a specific type of industrial area and an economy within it that produced a very specific social structure. And out of the Five Towns, it took me ages to get into it, but when I did, I really loved it. Another non-science fiction, Alice Peters wrote the Brother Cadfael series. And this is a later one. I think this is number 20. Oh my goodness. Now a major ITV series. They made a TV series of this. It must have been great. I am more than a little bit of a history geek. And having a monk who was a mercenary on crusades come back to England, living in a monastery and solving all these mysteries really works for me well. I've read quite a few in the series. I'm starting to think that I may start collecting them all. This one's is Chronicles XX. Roman numerals always make me feel semi-illiterate. What is that? 20? Might be 20. Anyway, far along in the series. Got plenty to read before that, but I'm quite pleased to have it, and I'm not letting it go because whenever I let them go, I can't find them again. Brian Aldiss, Report on Probability A Sphere Science Fiction. The great cover. Love that image within a bubble and then another bubble and another bubble. Great image. Brian Aldiss is a fantastic author, except when he isn't. He does weird, quirky stuff that sometimes fails so spectacularly that you can't help remembering how magnificent he is when he gets it right. Stephen Donaldson, Gildenfire. Okay, like everyone in the 90s, I read the White Gold Wielder series. I think they had another name as well. Lord Fowl's Bane, whatever. I read them all and I loved them. I tried to reread them about a dozen years ago, half a dozen years ago, and they have not aged well. I couldn't do it. And it was difficult because I remember loving them so much. Anyway, this particular one is a very, very thin book, and this may be my path back to Donaldson. There are also illustrations in it, so I don't know what this is all about. I will know more when I read it. Look at that beautiful image, and it's a wraparound cover. It is also a hardcover, which is regrettable, and it's a huge hardcover. It is massive. It's not going to fit on any of my shelves. I need more shelves. Nancy Mitford wrote Love in a Cold Climate. It is a celebrated book. It is something of a classic. It was first copyrighted in the 40s in 1949, and it is, I guess you'd call it light satire. It's a fiction about society, and it is satirical of society, and this one is illustrated. So I did used to have a copy of Love in the Cold Climate. I don't know where it went. I suspect it was a Penguin that disintegrated due to overreading. And that one was probably belonged to one of my parents. I now have it again. I would have preferred a Penguin in principle, but when I saw those beautiful illustrations, I couldn't resist. The Rebel Worlds by Powell Anderson. Great cover. Powell Anderson, another one who's hit or miss for me. I really respect what he was in the science fiction community. I really like some of his books, and some of them I think are terrible. However, that cover is gorgeous, and I'm hoping that this one and Let the Spaceman Beware will be examples of the ones where he was actually doing a good job. War with the Gizmos by Murray Leinster. This might be the book that on Goodreads has 0 reviews and only half a dozen ads. I know there's one that had no reviews on Goodreads at all in this lot, because I checked it in the haul and I found it. Love the cover. It's very, very dated, old cover style, gold medal book, it claims. I have my doubts, but we will find out. And if it's a bad one, I'll still enjoy its badness. Ben Bova, As on a Darkling Plain. Ben Bova used to be everywhere. He isn't. I was quite staggered to find him. This one's in good condition. It is yellowed because it has been contacted. But the oh, has it? I was sure it must be contacted. It's plasticized. You can see the plastic here. Further investigations when I read it. Okay. Master SF series by New England Library. I have a few of these now, but I don't have, nor have I ever seen, Martian Time Slip by Philip K. Dick with introduction by Brian W. Aldiss. I've got high hopes for this one. Great cover. High hopes for that one. Not high hopes about when I'll get to it, but still. Fred Saberhagen, The Broken Lands. Another great science fiction cover by an author whose name is wandering around the internet and I have hopes for. Virus by Molly Brown. I've never heard of the book. I've never heard of the author. It sounds really good. Chicago 2078, a depleted city. A city where sterile population, still recovering from a terrible war, struggles toward a better future. Some of the internet claims that's a kid's book. I don't see it, but, again, find out. Ray Bradbury, The Day It Rained Forever. Great cover. So, Ray Bradbury is Ray Bradbury, and he's got pluses and minuses. I think this one looks good. This is people settling on the sands of Mars, and there's a post-Holocaust Mexico. 23 short stories. I didn't realise it was short stories. Never mind, it's Ray Bradbury. I can still do short stories. Kine is a animalistic fiction, think Watership Down, only with different types of furry animals. I've been avoiding these books for years, but I finally took the plunge and I got one. Ah, yes. The Praise Singer by Mary Renault, a novel. This is not science fiction. Mary Renault, Renault, I think, was a historian, and she wrote some marvelous books. She wrote a duology. I've only read 2 of them. It might be a trilogy. That is the best description of Alexander the Great I've ever read. And her history books were wonderful. I have heard that her historical fiction are great as well. I've never read one. This is the first one of hers I've found. It's set in ancient Greek, where a bard sings verses to, I believe, the dead. I could be wrong about that. We'll find out in time. Blackwater, the anthology of fantastic literature. Did I really get it as a doorstop? No, I didn't. I thought that this book by Alberto Manguello just sounded intriguing. I've never heard of it. That's never stopped me before. Frank Herbert, The God Makers. I am really enjoying the Frank Herbert that I've been reading recently. People forget that he had more than one book. His most famous books are good, but many of his other ones are great. Non-fiction, I believe, maybe. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. This, I believe, is a very 60s era novel. I've heard about it many times, but I've never encountered it, and I've never read it, and now I can. James Hadley Chase. Of all the crime authors out there, I kind of love James Hadley Chase the most. I have a lot of Agatha Christie and I read them all, but there's a certain pizzazz to him. This one is No Orchids for Miss Blandish, and it's in this really old cover. Most of mine are the corgi editions with the black covers, but I couldn't resist this really old one. No Orchids for Miss Blandish is known as his most disturbing, most gritty novel. It's been a long time since I read it. I let my copy go. I'm glad to have another one. A Stainless Steel Rat is Born by Harry Harrison. I have wanted to reread The Stainless Steel Rat in sequence. There's heaps of them. I have several of them. This one is not number 1. This is number 0. So I guess you can start with number 0. I don't... There's a lot about that series I don't get. The Bug Wars. This is not the one with 0 reviews. I bought this because the name was funny, the cover was gorgeous and quirky and sweet, and I thought it's probably going to be absolutely dreadful, but I don't care because the cover and the Bug Wars, what a title. In fact, its reviews on Goodreads tend to be 4 or 5 stars, so it might be very good. Apocalypse 2000, thank you Steve, this one was a gift. It may or may not be a science fiction. As the 20th century draws to a close, decades of global economic mismanagement and political cowardice have begun to bear bitter fruit. It could be non-fiction. It sounds like it could go either way. Diana Wynne Jones, The Time of the Ghost. I like Diana Wynne Jones. There's several of her books. Children's books, but still really good. The Moving Castle of Howl's Moving Castle. That book was good. Several of her others as well. This one I might try and save for spooky season read next year, October 2026. Yes. Synthetic Men of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Again in this beautiful New English Library copy. This is the 9th, I believe, in the Mars series. I would like to get back into them. Okay. Winds of the Heliopolis by Don Fretland. Never heard of him, never heard of the book. Great cover, very science fiction-y. This might be your mystery, no review one. John Wyndham, Wanderers of Time, writing as John Bainon. I didn't have this one. I'm not sure I've ever read it. I hope I have, because it's Wyndham. I just, in my core, believe that I've read all Wyndham, but not always. East of Midnight by Tanith Lee, a Magic Quest book. I don't have this one. Don't know I've ever seen it. The cover's in terrible condition, but it's gaudy and beautiful, and it's Tanith Lee, so I can't resist. Plus, it's been a long time since I read a Magic Quest book. Maybe today's the day. Tenko is non-fiction. I'm running out of time to record. Tenko is non-fiction. There was a TV series about Women in World War II. They were British women that were captured by the Japanese during World War II. They were interned in a prisoner of war camp in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure. It was a gritty TV series. It hit me in the solar plexus. Don't think I've ever read the book, but I do want to. The Sentimental Bloke in the Other Verse is a iconic Australian book. Everyone will have heard of it. How many people have read it? Well, I plan to be one of them. And yes, the very first book I saw on the tables is Show Us Your Doors, Joe Clayton Meave. I know nothing about this book other than it is a slightly faded, but still a door. Hurrah! I found so many doors you don't normally. Okay, Agatha Christie. I am quite close to collecting all Agatha Christie's. I think I've got 8 left. Curtin Poirot's Last Case is in Fontana, which is my preferred font. And it is in terrible condition, ripped, drawn on, but still closer to my goal. Non-fiction, Venus in Furs, a story of obsession by Leopold von Sacher-Masoch. I've heard so much about this. This is a nice little penguin edition, and probably will read it at some stage. Frank Herbert, The White Plague. If I've read this, it was so long ago I don't remember it. I know it's a good one. I am glad to have it. I've tried looking for it several times over the years and not found it when I wanted it. Now I have it. The Book of Frank Herbert is one of the 3 books which were dedicated to a specific science fiction author. I love that cover. I think it's Bruce Pennington. Is it Bruce Pennington? Yes, it's Bruce Pennington. And you've got these huge Great Danes by the look of them, but maybe they're cybernetic Great Danes. Maybe they are alien Great Danes, and a wraparound cover. Really excited for that one too. And finally, the exciting one, the unicorn of the collection is... Ta-da! It's a hardcover. I'm happy with it. Stanislaw Lem, Imaginary Magnitude. I'm pretty sure someone has reviewed this one fairly recently. And I have to admit, I squealed a bit when I found it on the table. No one heard me, which is good. Stanislaw Lem and I do have a up and down relationship, but I was really happy to find this beautiful 84 hardcover copy. He needs another chance. That was exciting. Thank you for watching. That is the final Lifeline Bookfest 2025 book review. Read good books.